There's a lot to be said about patriotism, and many times the thought is those who are patriotic are those who are sons of the soil, born and bred and have deep roots in the place where they call home. But we've seen it time and time again, and my life has been impacted by such an individual. And it's funny because this gentleman, who I am going to call my king of Punta Cana, that's just my king of Punta Cana. Anybody else can debate it, but this is my title. He has set out to carve for himself a niche in in a country that he has adopted and called home, in a city that he has taken on and made it larger than life. And so, honestly, I think it's just fair to go ahead and crown Jamie Gruber the king of Punta Cana. Now, there are those of you who might say, oh, that's such a broad statement. But I will back it up, I will defend it because I have watched him since the pandemic. And it is interesting to note that I had no idea that in what, 3, 4 years, if so much, our paths would cross in a very interesting way. But not only that, long before we even had an encounter, he was impacting my world because he took on a new world and made it his own. There are those of you who are saying, oh, you're talking in riddles. Let me clarify, let me demystify my thoughts. And it is a very simple thing. When someone is transplanted into another culture and another country without even being able to speak the language, but they fall fiercely in love with that place, you have to give them their props. And so this is a position on which I stand and which I make this statement, that even the impact that he might have thought would have been within the confines of his reach, that impact has stretched beyond walls, beyond boundaries, beyond borders, and it has impacted my business right here in Jamaica. And so, as Share Fantastic Travels and Resorts Limited seek to expand its reach into the Dominican Republic with a focus on Punta Cana, I will say this proudly, that this gentleman, my king of Punta Cana, Mr. Jamie Kruger, has had a tremendous impact. First, on me picking up my life in 2024 summer and moving to the DR. That is credit that I can only give to this one person. And it's funny because if I were to be honest, we have never met face to face, but the impact has been so far reaching that even today, the impact is still being felt. And so there are those of us who like to speak highly once the individual is no longer with us. But we all have already agreed that we scatter the roses at the feet of those who are alive. And so, in my own special way, this is a tribute to the gentleman who I now hail as my king of Punta Cana, because the growth that I have already experienced in the area of travel sales, connections, business building, I credit to this one individual, this one man, this one person who my assessment is he was bold enough, brave enough to step out on a limb and to follow a dream, giving those of us who watched on in awe the confidence that if he could do it, so could I. And I tell you this one thing, I have known of persons who have moved into lands where they do not speak the language and they have thrived. And this is another such experience that I'm watching evolve right in front of my eyes. And I am absolutely happy to be under the span of his wings, knowing that the intention that he has and the role that he has given himself will not only impact his area, his niche, his land of the Dominican Republic, but it's going to touch the world. And so I join in all those who have already gotten great value. And you might wonder, so what does he do? And I'll give you just a little bit of insight. When you talk about travel and tourism, which is my niche, you reach out to Jamie Gruber. He'll connect you. You're talking about investment and how to build generational wealth. Yeah, he'll do that too. Looking towards acquiring, maintaining, or growing your real estate portfolio. Yeah, he has that too. And the list goes on. But I could never end this little segment without mentioning food, the culinary delights of the Dominican Republic, and in particular Punta Cana. Those have been unraveled in front of our very eyes on those Grub with Gruber podcast moments. So, if I might just put a little plug in this particular video for myself, Jamie, if you ever really want to have a chat and introduce me to one of those iconic spots right there in Punta Cana, know that I will grub with Gruber just because I believe you have impeccable taste in locating the best eateries, and I will come unashamedly just for the food. Oh, yeah, and for the company too. But fun and joke aside, guys, this is just my way of celebrating someone who I now call a legend. And I look forward to growing with and being a part of what I now call a movement. And the Caribbean, Latin America, and the world will be better for it, from it, for it, and because of it. So, until we meet again on the seas, on land, fulfilling your travel goals, dreams, hopes, and aspirations. You know, Share Fantastic Travels and Resorts Limited we take you to the world and back. Ciao for now.